All right, welcome to this demo where we're going to take a look at object holds from the point of view of the gsutil command line tool. Now, the object holds are also under the gsutil retention command. And if we would try to take a look at our bucket, and I want to do a get. And in our bucket, I have an index.html file. You can see that the retention command itself does not support getting hold status or retention status for individual objects. So the only thing that we can do with the get command is to get the retention policy of the bucket, which is currently off. However, if we want to place a hold on an object, we can do that using the retention command. Let me just quickly show you what the content of this bucket is. So we have two objects in it, index.html and logo.png. And the way I can set up a hold is by saying gsutil retention. And then the hold type. So I'm just going to use temp now, because the hold type doesn't matter if we don't have a retention policy set up. And then we set it. And now we can use the object name, right? This is a little bit weird. So the set command works, but the exact same get command does not work, right? If we would now try to get the retention, the hold status of this file, it will fail. So how can we know whether there is a hold on an object or not? Well, the hold is actually metadata for the object. So one way to get that is to use the stat command. With the stat command, you can see that there is a temporary hold enabled for this object. Okay, so now we have a hold on it. That should mean that we can't remove it, right? So let's try to remove that object. And it doesn't allow us because it is under a temporary hold, which is active. We can release that hold. There we go. And when we're releasing the hold, we also need to give the hold type. So we're releasing the temp hold in this case. Now it's released. And now if you check the stat again, there is no reference to any kind of hold in the metadata. That means that there are no holds. Okay, so let's next create a retention policy for the bucket, because that's where it gets interesting. So we do a retention set and 300 seconds, and then on the bucket, I'll just copy paste that from here. Forgot to tell it that was seconds. There we go. All right, so now we have a retention policy of 5 minutes on the bucket. So now we can set a, we first can take a look at the individual file. You can see that the retention will expire in some minutes. Actually, it has already expired, right? So it was from the previous write 5 minutes onwards. So we can delete it currently. And with a retention demo, the temp hold works exactly the same way as without. So if we set the temp hold, like this. And then we take a look at stat again. There's a temporary hold enabled. The retention expiration is still in the past. Now if we release the temp retention and we then try to remove the file, it allows us to do that. Great. So we still have one file left. So let's put a event-based hold onto that particular object. So just ls. There we go. Only one object left. And then we do a retention set onto logo.png. And the type is not temporary temp, it's event-based. So event. So now we've set an event-based hold onto an object that is in a bucket that has a retention policy. Let's take a look at the metadata of that object now. So first of all, we can see that there is an event-based hold that is enabled. But now there is no retention time. Interesting, right? So if we remove it, then there is a retention time. Interesting, right? This retention time is now exactly 5 minutes in the future from this event release event, right? So the way event-based holds work is with retention policy enabled in a bucket, it will start the timer of that retention policy, in this case 5 minutes or 300 seconds, when the event-based hold is removed. So this means that now that we've removed the hold, we are still not able to delete the file. And the reason for that is that the retention policy has a timer on it, and we still need to wait for 4 minutes until that is possible. There's another interesting feature regarding this, and that's that a bucket can have a default event-based hold on. So the way that we can see that is by taking a look at the metadata of the bucket. There we go. So currently in the bucket metadata, there is a retention policy present, but no default event-based hold. But we can set that by gsutil retention event default set, and then the bucket name. And now if we list the metadata, we can see that a default event-based hold is true. Now what does this mean? Basically that means that if we now upload a command, gsutil copy a file into this bucket, and then we take a look at the metadata for this file that we just uploaded, you can see that it has an event-based hold enabled. And it doesn't have any retention policy date. Only once we remove the or release the retention, the event-based retention, the event-based hold policy on that one, only then will the timer start working. Now we've released it. And now if you take a look at the stat, you can see that it will have a retention expiration 5 minutes from now, or from the moment when we released the event-based hold. All right, this is all I've got for you in this demo. Thanks a lot for listening and watching. See you in the next one. Bye.